Okay, I think that's good. Okay, so yeah, Happy New Year. I know it's the middle of February. Don't come for me, I'm a mother. I'm trying to find the balance between being a mom, being a fiance, being a full-time employee for a job, and also trying to have some time for myself. That's been pretty difficult. So yeah, but I need to catch you guys up because it's been a while. We moved into this apartment in October. So it's moving day today. I have my movers here. They're loading everything in the house. I've been told that my labels, you guys, that I used, the movers really like it. Very helpful, so worth the 10 bucks. I was trying to unpack and keep up with them as they were coming, but they're moving a little bit too fast for me, so I'm just gonna relax. Let all the boxes kind of pack up in the room. I'll go through them later because it's a bit much. It's a bit much. This apartment is a big reason why I haven't been filming videos. So you guys saw the excitement that we had for this place. You saw the empty apartment tour. We were really excited to move in here. With all that being said, let me start from the beginning. So I was at my last apartment, and then we found this apartment, and it was a brand new building. It had not been completed yet, but they were signing leases. I think we signed our lease back in May to move in September. We were supposed to move in literally the day after my birthday, which is September 15th. While I was doing Hot Mama Summer and I was in Columbia, I got a call from our leasing office here at this new complex saying that we have to push your date back. We can't move you in on the 15th. And mind you, by this time, I had already fully closed out my lease with my old apartment. They were able to find somebody to move in literally 10 days after I moved out, because that's what they need, 10 days to clean the apartment, blah, blah, blah. And they found somebody to fill the rest of my lease for that month. Because I was terminating my lease a month in advance, they were willing to work with me. I actually gave ourselves a buffer. So even though we were supposed to move in here on the 15th, let me turn around. Even though we were supposed to move in here on the 15th, I said that we weren't going to be leaving our other apartment until the 20th. That way we can get some time to move things back and forth without having to rush into this place all at once and do all the moving all at once. At that time, I had a 4-month-old and I really didn't want to do a big move like that. Although the locations aren't far from each other, I just didn't want to do a big move where I was rushing to do everything in one day. So the Virgo in me, you know, decided to plan this out accurately. So I was like, okay, we'll move in on the 15th. I'll tell my apartment we're moving out on the 20th. Give us 5-day buffer. So that's not what happened. Again, back to Columbia. The leasing office calls me and tells me, your apartment's not ready. We've failed inspection. Now we had a leak in the building and it wasn't on your floor, but because we failed inspection, we have been denied a certificate of occupancy. So I said, okay, so when do you think you can get us in? And they were like, probably October. I'm like, that's 2 weeks. I said, what are we supposed to do for those 2 weeks? Be homeless? Because like I mentioned, my apartment was already rented out. I needed to be out of the apartment. Somebody had already signed the lease for my apartment. So that was the first irritating thing that we had to deal with coming into this apartment. They were not willing to help us really in the terms of finding location, how to relocate us. It was really, you pay out of pocket and then we'll figure out how much we can reimburse you. But it most likely won't be all of it. So I'm like, you guys know I have a 3-month, 4-month-old, right? We can't just stay on somebody's couch with a child. Now, they didn't know that, but we do live around family. Like all of our family is here. We have grandparents who are both retired. We had a place to go, but that's neither here nor there. That's not their business. Their business is to find us a place and relocate us for that time being. And they weren't really willing to cover an entire cost of 2 weeks stay. Mind you, we were looking at places that were like $300 a day. If you add that up, that's a lot more money than we anticipated on paying, in addition to having to pay a full month's rent shortly after. I let them eat that at that point, because what am I gonna do? Argue? My mother-in-law took us in and we stayed with her for 2 weeks. They told us the apartment might be opening. They had actually moved people in later in September and failed to let us know Granted, everybody was annoyed who had signed a lease. They had a whole bunch of cancellations just due to the fact that they made people homeless for a 2-week stint. We finally get the date after I've called to be like, hey, how's progress going? Can we move in? Because now, not only that, I had to find storage for 2 weeks. I had to put everything that we had into storage for 2 weeks. I had looked at a public storage, they had roaches, and I was just concerned about putting my stuff in a storage unit that could possibly be compromised with rodents or bugs or moisture or whatever it is. I don't really genuinely like to do that. I did find a solution where I had a cube, not exactly the pod, but a different local cube company came and actually left a cube on my parents' driveway, and we put everything in there. Thank God for them. They were able to move the cube from my parents' house to this location, and then it was just a seamless process. They were very helpful, but they couldn't quite move us in at that end of September date like I needed. They had to do it the following Monday. Because like I mentioned, they allowed us to come in on the 29th. That's when we filmed that video, the empty apartment tour. But the movers weren't able to move the cube until that Monday. Monday, I think it was the beginning of October. Mind you, in that same week, I had 2 weddings. One of them I was in, the other one I would have been in, but you know, my friend decided not to do bridesmaids, and I'm all here for it because I'm not doing that either. That's neither here nor there. If you guys are interested in wedding planning, let me know. I know that's far off base from my channel, but if you're interested, let me know. I'm in the thick of it. We decided to move in all of our boxes that first Monday. I knew it was gonna take me some time to unpack. I also had a wedding to be at. I had a rehearsal dinner to be at on a Wednesday, the wedding on Thursday. We had moved in on Monday. I was just extremely, extremely stressed. Wednesday comes along. We have to be at a rehearsal dinner and then back to a hotel the night before for the wedding that following Thursday. We went to the rehearsal dinner. Mind you, I still had boxes in the apartment. I didn't get to fully unpack anything, but we came back after the rehearsal dinner around 1 a.m. I came upstairs. My fiance was still, I think, carrying up some bags or something, but I went in front of him. I walked into our room, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw something zoom past me really, really fast. I was like, I know. From behind the dresser, I was like, I know I didn't just see what I think I just saw. And then I froze. My fiance was still downstairs. I was like, let me be really still. And then I've seen it again, and it ran and took off towards the bathroom. And my eyes really focused in at this point. It was a mouse. We had been in this apartment for 2.5 days at this point. I jumped on top of the mattress because I was like, what the hell? I've never lived with mice before. This is a brand new apartment. I'm on top of the bed, waiting for my fiance to come in. My phone, I had left it. I didn't want to jump down to the floor because I didn't know how many other rodents there was. And my phone was on the dresser because that's where I had put it. So I had no way of contacting my fiance. As soon as he came through the door, I screamed his name, and I was like, there's a mouse. I just saw a mouse. He's like, you're kidding. I'm like, I swear to God, please come save me. I just saw a mouse. I'm trying to barricade the bathroom in which I saw it run in that direction with our boxes. Like I said, we weren't finished unpacking. I literally seen him actually run into my linen closet in our bathroom, well, in our bedroom. I had called maintenance and, you know, emergency maintenance, and I was like, there's a mouse in my apartment. And there's like, well, there's nothing we can do because that's not really considered an emergency. I was like, so you think I'm gonna stay here with a mouse in my apartment? Good and behold, we did have a hotel again because we were in a wedding the following morning. So we did not have to stay in the apartment with the mice. The next day came and they said they set some traps and they put some foam insulation, but we weren't here again because we were at the wedding, still at the hotel. So we didn't actually walk through the place with them to see if they've actually covered all of the holes. They had a couple traps set around the apartment. When we came home, we actually saw the mouse in the trap in the bathroom. And I was like, that was the direction that it ran in. So I thought, oh, great, we caught it. We caught the mouse. So I was on the couch the next day because we still had some other traps around the apartment, not thinking much of it because I figured it was just one. Maybe it got in here somehow. And I was on the phone and I was telling, I forgot who I was speaking to, but I was like, yeah, we caught the mouse yesterday. It was a baby. And then I had looked over at the trap that was under our bar and I was like, oh my God, there's another mouse in that trap. I lost my I called maintenance again. There's another mouse in here, okay? So I need you to walk through this apartment and really make sure all of these holes are sealed. Long story short, they didn't do that again. And we had another mouse caught in the trap. Now this is the third mouse, okay? At this point, I was setting up cameras all over the floors to make sure I can see what direction they were coming from. I literally went downstairs and I was like, listen, either you give us our money back and move us to another unit or relocate us. I'm not living in a house with mice. I have an infant that cannot be crawling around the floor with rodents, okay? I have a dog. After arguing with them multiple times and asking them to really come in and we went through everything. And the building was still under construction. So I had the construction people come back to the apartment. I told the property managers, we need construction back up here. Clearly they did a shoddy job. These mice are coming from somewhere. We had caught 5 mice and I had them on camera coming out of my stove, running behind my bar, running in the bathroom. I can't even tell you how many holes we found in this apartment because they were doing such a shoddy job. I then asked construction to rip out the whole cabinet from behind the sink. And they was like, no, they put a little snake camera back there and it was like, we don't see anything. We don't see anything. And then there was like a plate screwed over the cabinet out of nowhere. It's like it was just a random plate. So I took my screw and I was like, move. I took my screwdriver and I unscrewed the plate. And I was like, look at this giant hole. We don't see anything? We don't see holes? Really? So then I continued to look. I was like, okay, now I have to take matters into my own hands. Everywhere there's piping, everywhere there's a sink, anywhere there could be a major hole, I have to look around. I found holes underneath the cabinet. I found holes in the bathroom, exactly where it made sense of where these mice were coming from. There were so many holes. The way they fixed it, they just foamed up everything and put a little bit of aluminum wool in these holes. And mind you, the whole building was infested with mice. It wasn't just my apartment, it was the entire building. Eventually, it came a point where I think we sealed up all the holes. There was no entry into our apartment, but that doesn't mean they weren't still in the building. We moved on. But not too long after that, after they finally closed up everything, which took them quite some time, there was a rainy Sunday. One rainy Sunday. It was pouring, and apparently it was a coincidence that this happened. But my son, we had just finished his room because I was eager to show you guys his room, everything we had done. I walked into his room and the ceiling was leaking. And I was like, what? It's raining that hard? Mind you, we live in a loft apartment, so there should be attic space above us, but we're not directly touching the roof. So I didn't quite understand that. So how could that much water get down into his ceiling where it was leaking? The ceiling is leaking in my son's room. What is that a chance for? Mold. And a chance for the ceiling to fall down because it's just leaking all across the ceiling. Like, it's good thing I moved my son's bed because now we have a new leak. Oh my God. Do you see? I know. Do y'all hear this? So I put in an emergency request to get somebody out here because, oh my God. My son cannot sleep in a room where the ceiling could possibly fall on him because it's soaked. So I called the emergency number again. Somebody came and they just poked the screwdriver in there and they're like, we just need to create a funnel for all the water to drain. And I was like, there's nothing really you can do about it? Like, I can't leave my son in here. You know, this is his room. We pay for this room. And they're like, oh, well, you know, there's nothing we can really do until the morning. The morning comes. My son's room, I put a garbage can there. It was full. Full. A garbage can full of water. This is not your average leak. This is not rain. Okay, so we have a leak in my son's bedroom. The floors are soaked. The ceiling is also soaked. This is yet another issue that we've had to go through since we've gotten here. My fiance is clearing out the cabinet because they're coming in now to hopefully tear this down, hopefully do right by us, which kind of sucks because we spent all this time decorating my son's room just for it to get destroyed. So they come and they cut a little hole in the ceiling and they see all of the insulation is soaked and they're pulling it out, soaked, ceiling soaked. They cut a bigger hole and it's still leaking and they come back. This time they come with like a pipe or something, because literally they cut a hole big enough so that you can stand on a ladder and poke your head through and see the attic space. We had tons of space between the roof and my son's room. So where's this water coming? When you poke your whole head through this hole, it's just like mist, like light mist. A pipe had a fracture, a hairline fracture in it, and it pretty much was broken and spraying water all over my son's room. Had the pipe had fully bursted, that would have been catastrophic. With my son sleeping in that room, you could imagine how furious I was at this moment, okay? Because now I'm not playing with y'all. We're paying way too much money. I'm paying triple the amount my parents paid for a mortgage in this apartment. If that had burst while my son was in this room, I would have owned this company, I swear. The carpet was soaked. I had 2 garbage cans in there at this point. They had to come back, remove the pipe. The apartment next door was affected. We had just painted the room. Again, I was ready to show you guys. He loves his room. They were giving me a bit of a hard time. I was like, cut out the whole ceiling. I don't need any mold growing in my infant's room. He sleeps here. Why wouldn't you guys want to take care of everything and make sure that everything was pulled down? Do you guys see how much wet insulation you pulled down? You're gonna convince me that it's just dry up there? And then my son couldn't sleep in his room for about 2 weeks. They immediately wanted to close the ceiling and I was like, do not close the ceiling. It's wet up there. Let it dry out. But you know, they wanted to patch it, get it done, because you know, the more days it takes, the more money they have to shell out to me or reduce from my rent. So eventually they bring in some large ass fans that's plugged into our electricity at this point that are drying out the room. It takes about 2 days. Then they come back and they're like, okay, we're gonna patch up the ceiling and fix the pipe. They fixed the pipe. They actually removed the pipe. They said it would just be safer. Safer, mind you, my son sleeps there. They patched the ceiling and now I said, okay, now you gotta replace this rug. This is his room. They're like, you want us to replace the whole rug? Well, duh, Captain Know-It-All. Why wouldn't I want you to? The rug is soaked. And they're like, oh, well, we're gonna have to call a rug people to replace it. I'm like, you guys at this point are being lazy. I don't know if you have kids or you don't, but you guys have been playing me since we were supposed to move into this apartment, since the mice issue, and now this. And we've only been here for 3 months and we've encountered all of this. They finally removed the rug. Lo and behold, the carpet padding was soaked. The cement was soaked. They finally replaced the carpet and they gave us $500 off of our rent for that incident. That's it, because that's all they deemed that we needed after not being able to comfortably live in our apartment for the last 3 months. So here we are in February, and so far nothing else has happened, but 8 years I lived in my other apartment, almost 9, and I never experienced anything quite like this experience. We're still here. And so far into 2024, we haven't had any issues, knock on wood. But yeah, this is our place. Everything's pretty much not done because I still have the rest of this room that needs to get done. We only signed a year lease and this apartment is fairly expensive, so I don't know how long we'll be here to finish maybe this wall, but my son's room is finished, our room is finished, the living room is where it's at. So I do want to show you guys all of those things now that everything is kind of settled down. This is obviously my desk area, but I do want to show you some of the things we've done around here. I want to do an Amazon video. We bought a lot of stuff for this apartment. This apartment did take a hit on us financially. Going from 1 bedroom to pretty much 3, you had to fill it up. So yeah, on the next video, I'll show you some of the things we bought. I won't show you everything because I'll just have to go through the rooms to show you. But there are a couple household staples that I bought off Amazon that I'd love to share with you guys. But yeah, that's my story. I'm feeling a lot better now about the situation, but I did have a rough couple months. So if you guys are still interested in seeing the apartment, let me know, comment below. And I'll catch you guys in my next one. Peace.